Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the program Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. And my name is William Kumwembe. In the program today, we speak to Minister of Trade on the government's drive towards enhancing cross-border trade as the government launches a new initiative that would necessitate smooth flow of goods in and out of the country. And also in the program, minority shareholders speak on the need for the country to enhance the drive towards financial inclusion. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. My name is William Kumwembe and this is Business Time. It is a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. In our main story in the program today, Minister of Industry and Trade, Simplex Chichola Banda, has expressed optimism over improved cross-border trade following launch of the coordinated border management system by the government. The system will help ease and hasten the process of clearing goods at border posts, among other things. Chichola Banda was speaking on Friday at the launch of the pilot project at Mwanza border post. And this is what he said in an interview with our journalist, Justin Mkweo.
It means a lot. It means easy facilitation of trade, minimizing and reducing time taken when one is clearing imports or exports here. The most important part is that we've reduced the ease of doing business. For example, we used to have 13 agencies. Now it has been reduced to 6. The longer the list, the more the time taken when you are clearing your commodities and exports here and imports. So this is quite a lot. I think Malayans should also note that this is a pilot project. We want to replicate the same in all border posts to make sure that businessmen are not taking much time. A business person is a serious person. Time for them is of essence. Therefore, reducing time in clearing their merchandise would also give them more time to do business in this country. The first one is the information management using the OD system, where you capture data and you keep it data in registers. What I've told them is time has come for us to use the digital platform so that they can have backup of data. So if anything happens, whether the data has been burned or destroyed by any other means, we will still depend on the database that will be kept as a soft copy. Time is moving so fast, so Malawi cannot lag behind by using the monologue way of keeping data. So this was my major concern. But I'm happy that MRA and immigration have assured me that they will be keeping a soft copy of the data. What it means is that they will have a backup system in terms of information and data management. Time to do business as usual is over. I always say this. I have told them and appealed that it's not just a matter of sharing with us the theoretical fantasies. I think it's time for us to do action, to show action. So my ministry will be monitoring the optimization and proper utilization of the CDM model so that we actually facilitate the ease of doing business. So we'll put up a mechanism that will ensure that we are monitoring what's happening here. And we'll be giving the nation periodic updates. One very important thing that we've noted so far is that Mwanza is one of the biggest borders in this country. It generates more revenues, and the volume of exports and imports are more than any other border post. Therefore, coming here to do this pilot model of the CBM is the best way forward, because others will now learn from Mwanza and do likewise. And then we can now start generating more and also increasing the volumes of both imports and exports. We are not operating in silos. When we are now operationalizing the continental free trade area, we need also to advance in terms of border management. I think that's the reason why we want all the facilities and processes that are done here should be coordinated. Hence the need to have a fully operational coordinated border management.
Minority shareholders for listed companies have reiterated the need for Malawi to intensify efforts on financial inclusion to ensure that more Malawians are taking part in various interventions that would ensure growth of the economy. This was said in Blantyre when the association held a press briefing. Among other things, the association believes that if awareness is created on investment and saving instruments, more Malawians would be in the scope. Our journalist Llewellyn Mpasa has filed this report.
Matewere attributed the poor participation of Malawians into the stock market instruments to inadequate awareness among the players.
This is very important because for somebody to invest on the Malawi exchange stock market, somebody ought to be aware about what happens about on the Malawi stock exchange. That means they'll have the confidence to invest once they are aware about what they are doing. So they need information, and that information, Mr. Rico, because we got the practical members that have invested on the Malawi Stock Exchange, obviously they're going to come with practical examples and encourage those people who have not invested on the Malawi Stock Exchange to do so. On that very day, we've lined up all the players who are involved in the stock market or in the stock market. One of them is Malawi Stock Exchange. That is the engine where the shares are sold and bought. And we've got brokers. For somebody to buy shares, one ought to go through a broker. You deposit your money with a broker. The broker will search which counter to buy for you. And we've got what we call transfer secretaries. Those people, they're involved in the handling of the shares and the dividends. They're the ones who do limit dividends to you. And whatever transaction you conduct on the Malawi Stock Exchange, it ends up in the hands of transfer secretary who will liaise with you on where to deposit the money if you made any dividends. As Mr. Rico, we've noted about that gap that is existing mostly amongst indigenous Malawians. Most indigenous Malawians, they're not participating in investing on the Malawi Stock Exchange. That's why we are conducting this literacy program so that we make most Malawians to be aware about the activities on the Malawi Stock Exchange. And this will be an investment option that speaks into Agenda 2063, whereby Malawi wants to create a middle income society. And one of the avenues one can explore is to invest on the Malawi Stock Exchange market. Most Malawians are not participating because most Malawians, they've got that mentality of short-term investment. The other thing is most Malawians are not aware about this type of economic activity that is also happening. It appears to most Malawians that this is a reserve of the elite, those people who've gone to school. Yeah, but then, as Mr. Liko, we want to depart from that type of misconception, and so that most Malawians should know that they are also allowed to invest on the Malawi Stock Exchange.
Mr. Liko was established in 2018 to, among other things, help shareholders improve their understanding of the operations of the stock market.
Remember, you're watching Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. My name is William Kumwembe. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country, and my name is William Kumwembe. Moving on to other business news. On Thursday, Standard Bank Malawi board chairperson Ngei Kanyongolo retired after serving in various capacities for about 10 years. Now, our journalist, Daunga Sabola, caught up with Kanyongolo for an insight on how the past 10 years have been.
It has been a wonderful 10 years. We came in when the bank was going through quite a number of changes. We've gone through a number of challenges, including the COVID period, and we managed to steer the bank during all these times. And if you look at our numbers, we have consistently grown as a bank, and the services that we are offering to our customers have improved over the years. We've gone digital. We have improved on the digital platform. We launched the Unayo, and we've had very good feedback from our customers in the way that we have served them. We had a brilliant team. The EXCO worked really hard. The time that I was coming in, we had Mr. Philip Madinga come in as the first Malawian CEO for Standard Bank. And that was quite exciting for us. And he has managed to steer the bank forward. And every year, the past years that he has been with the bank, we have performed very well. And because he has got a very good team, and he has worked very well with everybody else, and the staff have been well taken care of. And as we have seen with the results and the dividend we have declared, our shareholders are also very happy. And beyond that, we have also looked at our country, as we believe in our motto, Malawi is our home, we drive her growth. And therefore, we have been responding to the challenges of the country in a number of ways. You've seen us donate to the cyclone, for example. We've been very responsive. And we have also supported investment in key major areas, from agriculture, education to health. And therefore, I think that we've had a very good 10-year period serving the bank. Looking forward, this is a bank on the move. And it is a bank that is growing. You can see the numbers. We are growing in our customer base. We are moving into those areas, the unbanked, for example, the SMEs, and therefore the bank will continue with that vision. Apart from that, we will ensure the bank, the vision that is there, will ensure that we keep investing in new technology, and then we are responsive to the challenges, the global challenges around us.
Now, as Malawi continues to grapple with scarcity of forex, a consortium of fuel importers in the country, Petroleum Importers Limited, has reaffirmed its commitment to ensure seamless and continued flow of the commodity in the country. This was said in Mzuzu when the company hosted an event where PIL Finance and Administrative Manager said there is a special arrangement that the firm is using to ensure that flow of fuel is not interrupted. He caught up with our journalist, Feston Malekezo.
In brief, in terms of the fuel importation, I think we can only just speak briefly in terms of our importation at the moment. We, as a company, Petroleum Importers Limited, we are still able to bring in fuel into the country through the various arrangements that we have with the commercial banks who are supporting us with access to foreign currency to enable us to continue with the importation of product. So apart from the support from the commercial banks, we also getting support from the bank or the Reserve Bank of Malawi, who are ensuring that forex allocation for purposes of fuel importation is prioritized. So that is definitely helping us to ensure that there is a continuous flow of product into the country.
All right, thank you. Now, another business news, non-government organizations in the country have been urged to be prudent and effective in finance management. Our journalist, Kumwembe has more.
It has transpired that most non-government organizations decry huge charges by auditing firms as one of the factors affecting their ability to produce audited financial reports to the NGO Regulatory Authority as per Section 22 of the NGO Act. But during the meeting, the auditors took turns to dismiss their assertions, stressing that the fees are usually high due to the mess in financial reporting created by the same organizations. They indicate that most NGOs do not have proper accounting departments and in some cases overlook auditing exercises, hence not sparing enough funds for them. Chisomo Kaswanjete is Malawi Accountancy Board Assistant Technical Services Officer.
The first impression is that most of these small NGOs in the first place don't appreciate this exercise of audit, because the funds are coming from outside. Maybe they do the international audits and the like. They don't believe in the local professionals handling their work. To cite an example, you find a situation whereby there's an NGO fully functioning in Malawi, but you tend to ask them, do you have a fully functioning accounts department in Malawi? They will say no. Why is that? They will say, for example, the funds are seasonal. Maybe during the year, the funds maybe will just come from the period maybe starting from January to June, maybe from July to December, there are non-activities. So they will actually hire an accountant or auditor based on the requirement by the donor. So because of that factor, you see, it's not easy to hire an accountant full-time. So because of that aspect, they would say maybe we don't have the funds to hire an accountant, or maybe to hire a consultant who will be handling the accounting work. So you see, in that respect, I find it that most of them don't comply with the reporting regulatory framework. Those guys charge based on the complexity of the work they're going to do. For example, in audit, there are 3 phases. There's the planning phase, there's the execution phase, and then there's the completion phase. So you see, an auditor has to plan. For example, maybe the auditor is going to handle maybe a project that is worth 10 million. So for the auditor first, he needs to assess the risk that is involved in auditing that work. So before the auditor charges, he needs to assess. The planning phase is to determine actually the fees to charge the client. So you might be a small client, but handling huge finances, handling huge projects. So the audit fees comes in where now you're looking at the level of transaction, the complexity, because you might have someone who is managing maybe $1 billion or $2 billion fund with less audit risk, and then you can get a client handling maybe 200 million, but with high audit because of the volume and level and complexity of transactions that are involved. So I think we cannot just conclude to say that those that are small should be charged low audit fees, but you have to look at the complexity of the work and the volume of transactions that are involved in that institutional company. I have to look at awareness, because by the end of the day, the financial statements are there as a guiding tool to say that maybe this institution is a going concern, because it looks at is the institution going, for example, to operate in the next 2 years or 3 years, because an audit report will always raise issues concerning the governance of the institution.
NGO Regulatory Authority Director of Corporate Services Linda Njiko says there is need for further engagement between NGOs that are failing to access auditing services and the auditing sector itself to find lasting solutions that would improve adherence to reporting laws.
We've engaged the Malawi Accountancy Board. As you are aware, the NGO Act, Section 22, requires that NGOs must submit reports every year, and part of those reports is a requirement for submission of audited financial statements. Now, for us to get the audited financial statements, it's the auditors that do that work. So looking at the levels of compliance in the NGO sector and the issues that the NGO sector has brought to our attention, why they are failing to comply with the requirement of the law, we thought it wise to engage the Malawi Accountancy Board and ICAM as regulators of the audit firms to bring the auditors together and discuss these issues, then map the way forward on how best we can help the NGO sector to comply with the requirements of the NGO Act. They are legitimate in the fact that looking at the way auditors charge their fees and what has been transparent in our meeting today, that they charge based on time and the amount of work that is there, then they look at the planning and the closing of the audits. it's evident that the smaller NGOs may not afford the fees. And the other fact is that the smaller NGOs, they don't have the capacity themselves to do the financial statements before the actual audit. So that then makes it difficult for the auditors to charge lesser fees, because at first it means they have to look at helping them doing the financial statements before they do the actual audit. So the glide of the smaller audits of the high cost of audit fees is legitimate. By now we have 150 NGOs that have submitted their reports, of which include those that have also submitted reports other than the audited financial statements. We indicated in our meeting that just to make sure that we increase compliance this year, the Registrar of NGOs has waived submission of audited financial statements for NGOs whose category is below 100 million. So those NGOs that are receiving annual grants less than 100 million, we have prescribed a template basically for them to submit to us management accounts just to aid their compliance. So far we have received 150 reports. Our expectation is to receive more than 500 reports this year. But looking at the time frames, because we're supposed to close by 30th of June, we see that it won't be possible for most of the NGOs to meet that particular deadline, because others have complained that their audits are not yet ready. So we're looking at extending the reporting period to 30th to the 1st of July.
Last year, 57% of NGOs submitted their financial reports to the NGO Regulatory Authority.
Well, on that note, we've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. My name is William Kumwembe. On behalf of the entire production team, thank you for watching, but always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.